The suddenly moments of alcoholism. Suddenly you are walking out the front door, crossing the street, and sliding into the driver's seat of your old white Jeep. The sun is setting, but you don't notice the bright orange that streaks the sky as you exit the all-too-familiar neighborhood. And suddenly you find yourself, 9 months sober, sitting in front of a busy gas station because you just couldn't stay. Alcoholic brain whispers, you don't belong here. No one wants you around, but I can fix that. At the same time, you can feel your soul screaming. Maybe if you can't be there without drinking, you really don't belong there at all. This is your way out. And suddenly you were caught between two places and the thin dance around the dichotomy of being human. If you have to choke down a poison to stay, maybe it really is time to go. And suddenly the weight of alcoholism is real and it's you. It's not just something you see in movies and from people who can never quite get their life together. It's not smuggled in a brown paper bag and living under the freeway overpass. It's you. Short blonde messy hair shoved under a hat, blue eyes that crinkle around the edges now, a full-grown adult female, 40 years old. It's you staring back at you. Suddenly you know, this is alcoholism. Stumble humbly into an AA meeting, the smell of stale cigarettes and cheap coffee soothes your soul. This is your saving grace. You make it through another day sober. Then suddenly you wake up a few days later and you are back on a pink cloud. You feel like you've finally cracked the code. Alcohol is the real joke here. The world is crisp and clear. You can quite literally feel every molecule of precious oxygen filling up your lungs as you push your legs on a long run. Life feels worth living, and you don't even relate to the woman who almost relapsed on a random Saturday night. Catch yourself crying at how beautiful God's timing is, and suddenly everything is okay, till suddenly it isn't.
I really had been wanting to share my suddenly moment for a long time, but it took me like a week or two to really pull in the big picture of what had happened to me. Because on that day when I had my suddenly moment, I almost relapsed. I almost walked into a Maverick gas station. I was going to buy 3 Trulies and I was going to drink them in the parking lot and return to a pool party I was at. And I didn't quite realize what was happening at the time, that I was having an almost relapse. I just felt like out of control and out of my body. And it took me quite a while to process what had happened. Luckily, I sat in my car. I remember talking myself out of it. I went back and forth, but I literally sat outside that gas station for a good 45 minutes. And when I finally was able to put into words and emotions like what I had been through, I still wasn't quite sure how to put that out as a piece of content with the world. So what you just watched was a piece of Sam's Sober Stack, which is my Substack. And I had to first share my suddenly moment in writing. I think when I was able to write it out and put it out there in a way that felt really good to me, I knew it was time that I really needed to share this, because that suddenly moment came on out of nowhere. I was in an extremely good mood. I happened to be enjoying a very fun day with lots of friends and family. I even had on a bikini and I was sitting at the pool when it hit me. I was not expecting to feel that way that day at all. And I've learned a lot from it. First off, I need to work harder on choosing into my sobriety every single day. I can see that I was getting a little bit lazy with my tools and my morning routine and just different things that help me opt into sobriety on a daily basis. When the suddenly moment hit me, I actually implemented something that I do all the time. And I just left. I got up from the pool, I walked over, and I walked straight out the front door of my friend's house. I got in my Jeep and I was going for a drive. This is something I tell people to do all the time in sobriety. It's something that's worked really, really well for me. As I just go for a drive, it changes my energy, it removes me from that situation, and I'm able to just kind of come back to center. But this time on my drive, I was not coming back to center. The anxiety was insane. It was overwhelming me, and I was like, what is going on? What is happening? Oh my gosh, the emotions were so big. If you've ever had an anxiety attack or a panic attack where your brain is just spiraling and you're trying to just put a pin in it to find a solution to move forward, that's exactly what was happening to me. It was fishing for that solution. Oh, here's what I'll do. And I was like, no, I can't do that. Oh, here's what I'll do. No, I can't do that. And as I was driving around, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot my water. And I was like, that's perfect. I will go to Maverick and I will get a water. So I pull into Maverick, I park my Jeep, and it hits me. Oh my gosh, I know the solution to this feeling. I will go in, I will buy 3 Trulies, and I will drink them in the car, and then I will return. And then, of course, my brain went completely ballistic because I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? What are you doing? And it was like I was having all of these conversations at once. And I was like, yes, that will solve what I'm feeling in my body. I will go in and I will get this alcoholic beverage, 3 to be exact. I don't know why. I was never even a fan of Trulies when I was a drinker. But I live in Utah Utah, and there was no way I was making a trip to the liquor store. So gas station, beer, or alcoholic seltzer, those were my options, and I was not about to drink a beer. That was the solution that I had come to for the anxiety and the air quoting here problem I was feeling and facing. I then went a little deeper, and I was remembering what my sponsor says. She says, call me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to call her. I've actually never just called her before because I was like tempted to drink. So I call her, she doesn't answer. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, everyone says just call them. But of course, like we're not on demand. So I sat there for the longest time and I grappled about going in, going out, going in, going out. And finally I was like, you just have to get out of this car and do something. So I went in, and I went in without my ID. Like, you guys, I'm 40. I probably could have got away with buying it without my ID, but in my head I was like, I don't have my ID. I can't do it. I bought 2 big waters. I come back into my car. And of course the anxiety was still there. It was insane. I was like, how am I supposed to return to this pool party? I had left like my family there. I'm like, how are they going to get home? So unknown to everyone who was there, I returned. And I literally returned right at the moment when they were singing happy birthday to my friend. So I sang happy birthday to her. I gathered my bag. I asked my husband if he would get an Uber, and he was like, yes. And I walked back out the front door and I went home. And I found a meeting to go to. Luckily, I live in a city, so there are more readily available meetings. And I went to an 8 p.m. meeting. Completely shifted my energy, but I had to do what was best for me. Now, did I wake up Sunday morning feeling bright, chipper? No. I was having a really hard time with what I had just experienced. And so it took me a while to process through what was going on. Because for me, like, I do not want to drink. So I was grappling with, why did I suddenly have an urge like that? Why did that happen? Where did this suddenly moment come from? And, I had to just let time pass. And as time passed, I started to feel a little bit better about it. But what really hit me the hardest was, I think there had been moments in my sobriety where I had been like, well, I'm not really an alcoholic. Yes, I go to AA and I say, hi, my name's Samantha. I'm an alcoholic. But I think in the back of my brain, I had been leaving out like parts of that. If that makes sense. I don't know. I think I'd been gaslighting the shit out of myself somehow. There was like multiple versions of me going on. But that suddenly moment hit so hard for me. It was like me looking in the mirror, and I had to realize, girl, you are 100% a 40-year-old alcoholic. There is no ifs, ands, buts, or anything in between. This is who you are. And I had to really sit with that realization. Spring is here and the weather is changing. So the next time a suddenly moment happens, I hope I can be a little more prepared. And I pray that by me sharing this part of sobriety, you know that your suddenly moment isn't something you are experiencing alone.